Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, because what I'm about to tell you could change the way you love forever. Right now, I want you to think about someone you can't stop thinking about, someone who occupies your mind even when you know they hurt you. Feel that tightness in your chest? That ache that wakes you up at 2 a.m.? That's what I'm talking about today, learning to detach from someone you love, and why it's the only way to save yourself from the slow poison of a toxic relationship. Most men make the mistake of confusing attachment with love. You think staying close, enduring pain, tolerating disrespect, that this is love. But real love doesn't leave you anxious, doubting yourself, or constantly chasing approval. Real love doesn't make you feel small, powerless, or desperate. If you're in that cycle, it's not love, it's dependency. And dependency is what keeps you stuck in a loop where your heart aches and your mind never rests. Here's a truth most people won't tell you. Detaching doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you finally care enough about yourself to refuse the emotional roller coaster. It means reclaiming the energy you've been feeding into someone who doesn't value you the way you deserve. The moment you understand this, you start seeing the relationship for what it really is, not what you wish it could be. Now listen carefully. Detachment isn't about cutting someone off in anger. It's about taking control of your emotional world. It's about recognizing the subtle patterns, like feeling guilty for speaking your mind, ignoring your instincts, or justifying their bad behavior. Every time you bend, apologize unnecessarily, or silence your feelings, you're reinforcing the very toxicity you're trying to escape. Awareness is your first weapon. Understanding that you're not weak for wanting love, but strong for knowing when love is hurting you, is the shift that begins the process of liberation. This journey isn't painless. Your mind will scream, your body will ache, and the memories will feel like hooks pulling you back. But detachment is the quiet revolution that allows you to rebuild yourself from the inside out. And once you start, you'll notice a subtle yet profound change. The tension in your chest eases, your thoughts clear, and for the first time in months, or maybe years, you feel a sense of calm. This calm is let's be honest, detachment feels impossible when your mind and heart are wired to someone else. Every text, every call, every memory triggers a chemical reaction in your brain that convinces you need them to survive. But here's the hard truth. Your survival, your peace, doesn't depend on anyone else. It depends on the boundaries you set, the standards you enforce, and the courage you summon to protect yourself from emotional harm. The first step is recognition. Stop lying to yourself about their intentions. Stop rewriting history in your head to make them look better than they really are. Because when you romanticize someone who doesn't respect you, you become blind to the truth. And blind devotion is the fastest route to heartbreak. Take a moment to really analyze the interactions. How often do you compromise your values? How often do you suppress your voice to avoid conflict? How often do you feel anxious, sad, or restless after speaking to them? The answers are uncomfortable, but necessary. Awareness is the key that unlocks detachment. Next, you must create distance, not out of anger, not out of punishment, but as an act of self-preservation. This can mean physical distance, emotional distance, or even digital distance. It's the act of reclaiming your space, your time, your mind. And here's what most men don't realize. The emptiness you feel during this distance isn't weakness, it's growth. That emptiness is the raw material your mind and heart need to reconstruct a version of yourself that isn't dependent on validation from someone who doesn't value you. You also need to challenge the narrative in your head that says, if I let go, I'll never love again. That's fear masquerading as love. Real love, healthy love, will come when you are whole, not when you are broken. Right now, the person you're attached to may feel irreplaceable, but every man who has learned detachment realizes that this fear is an illusion. Freedom doesn't mean you stop loving. It means you stop giving your power away to someone who doesn't deserve it. Finally, understand this. Detachment is a process, not a single act. You will falter. You will want to reach out. You will feel guilt, shame, regret, and loneliness. That's normal. The difference between the man who breaks free and the man who stays trapped is persistence. Every time you resist the urge to chase, every time you silence the pull of their manipulation, You're strengthening the part of you that refuses to settle for less than you deserve. And slowly, subtly, almost imperceptibly, you start feeling lighter, freer, stronger. Now comes the part most men struggle with, letting go without hating, without bitterness, and without feeling like you're betraying your own heart. Detachment isn't about erasing someone from your life completely. It's about reclaiming control over how much influence they have over your emotions. It's about realizing that their choices, their moods, their actions are not reflections of your worth. And until you truly internalize that, every attempt to detach will feel like punishment, like a battle between your heart and your brain. You need to retrain your mind to separate love from dependency. Every memory, every hope, every what if needs to be examined and placed where it belongs, in the past. Start by acknowledging the good moments without giving them power over your present. You can remember the laughter, the intimacy, the connection without letting it convince you that they are the only source of happiness in your life. This mental practice sounds simple, but it's a muscle, and it must be exercised daily. Next, focus on filling the void they leave with yourself. Most men think detachment means emptiness, but true detachment replaces dependence with self-empowerment. Rediscover your passions, reconnect with friends, rebuild routines that make you feel strong, competent, and alive. Every time you choose your own growth over the pull of someone else's influence, you are reinforcing your freedom. That sense of control is addictive, and once you feel it, the thought of returning to old patterns will start to feel suffocating. You also need to confront your fears head-on. Fear of loneliness, fear of being forgotten, fear of never loving again. These are the silent chains that keep men stuck. Face them deliberately, write them down, speak them aloud, feel them fully, but don't let them dictate your decisions. Fear is a liar, and detachment is the act of refusing to live by its rules. The more you expose these fears to the light, the weaker they become and the stronger you become. Finally, recognize the subtle victories along the way. That moment you scroll past their profile without checking, the day you go hours without thinking about them, the instant you speak your mind without guilt. These are the markers of your progress. Detachment is not an all-or-nothing event. It's a series of small triumphs that accumulate until suddenly you realize you are no longer a prisoner of someone else's emotional whims. You are free, you are whole, you are finally yourself again. Now let's talk about the battlefield most men underestimate, the mind of the person you're detaching from. Toxic relationships don't end quietly. They leave trails of manipulation, guilt, and subtle pressure designed to pull you back in the moment you feel strong. They will test your boundaries, provoke your emotions, and exploit the smallest cracks in your resolve. The key to true detachment is learning to recognize these patterns before they trap you again. First, understand the emotional triggers. Every toxic partner knows exactly what buttons to press. They may use nostalgia, jealousy, or even flattery to make you doubt your decisions. You might get a message, a memory, or even a look that makes your chest tighten. This is intentional, whether they realize it or not. Recognize it for what it is, manipulation. Feeling it is normal, reacting to it is optional. That tiny pause between feeling the pull and acting on it, that is your power. Next, reinforce your boundaries like your life depends on it, because emotionally it does. No excuses, no justifications, no rationalizing behavior that hurt you. If you allow small violations, the chain of toxicity tightens invisibly until one day you're back where you started. Boundaries aren't walls, they are armor. They protect your mind, your heart, and your self-respect. Saying no, walking away, or refusing engagement isn't rejection, it's preservation. Another strategy is conscious detachment from communication loops. Stop responding to impulsive texts, passive-aggressive comments, or manipulative calls. Each interaction has a cost: your peace, your clarity, your energy. Every time you respond, you give them control over your emotional state. Every time you don't, you reclaim it. It's a slow process, and it will feel uncomfortable. That discomfort is proof you're doing it right. Growth always feels uneasy before it feels liberating. Finally, focus on the internal narrative you're building. Replace thoughts like, I miss them, or I can't live without them, with I deserve respect, and my peace is non-negotiable. Your brain is your battlefield, and the words you feed it shape your reality. Every repetition strengthens your new mental framework. You are training your mind to seek freedom over attachment, clarity over confusion, and dignity over desperation. Remember, the goal isn't to punish them, shame them, or prove anything. The goal is to reclaim yourself. Every decision you make in favor of your emotional health compounds over time until the pull of toxicity weakens, and the freedom you once feared you'd never have becomes your new normal. This is the art of detachment. Now that you've begun the process of detachment, it's time to focus on the most crucial part, rebuilding yourself. Many men make the mistake of thinking detachment is the end goal. It's not. Detachment is the doorway to rediscovering who you are, what you want, and what you will no longer tolerate. This is where true power lies. Start with your identity. Toxic relationships have a way of distorting who you are, what you believe in, and what you deserve. They make you doubt your instincts, question your worth, and sometimes even betray your values. Reclaiming your identity means remembering what makes you, you. What are your passions, your dreams, your strengths? What did you put aside for someone else? Begin restoring those pieces of yourself. Write them down. Commit to them. Live them every single day. Next, focus on your emotional independence. Detachment isn't just about breaking free from someone else. It's about building a version of yourself that doesn't rely on external validation. Learn to feel whole even when the world isn't flattering you, even when no one is applauding. Emotional independence is magnetic. It draws respect, attracts genuine connection, and keeps you from slipping back into destructive patterns. Your social world matters too. Toxic relationships isolate you from the people who lift you up. Reconnect with friends, family, mentors, those who remind you of your value and support your growth. Surround yourself with voices that reinforce your strength rather than your doubts. These connections aren't distractions. They're anchors that keep you grounded when old feelings resurface. Another powerful step is cultivating routines that reinforce control over your life. Exercise, meditation, focused work, creative projects, these aren't just activities. They are statements of self-respect. Every time you show up for yourself, you prove that your happiness isn't negotiable. Each small action compounds into a life that is rich, fulfilling, and entirely yours. Finally, embrace the discomfort. Healing after detachment isn't neat or linear. You'll feel guilt, sadness, or even longing, but those emotions are signals that you are transforming. Lean into them without surrendering to them. Over time, you will notice a shift. The obsessive thoughts fade, the cravings diminish, and the anxiety lifts. What remains is clarity, self-respect, and a freedom that no one can take from you. Rebuilding yourself isn't just recovery, it's evolution. You are not the same man who was trapped in dependency. You are stronger, wiser, and infinitely more capable of creating relationships built on respect, equality, and genuine love. By now, you've learned how to detach, reclaim your mind, protect your boundaries, and rebuild your life. But the final truth, the one most men never fully grasp, is this: detachment isn't just a temporary phase, it's a transformation. It's a permanent shift in how you relate to love, to others, and most importantly, to yourself. This is where freedom becomes unshakable. Understand this: once you master detachment, you no longer live in reaction to someone else's choices. You stop chasing validation, approval, or fleeting affection. You start living by your own standards. You no longer allow guilt, fear, or loneliness to dictate your decisions. Every step you take is intentional, every action rooted in self-respect, every relationship measured by how it enhances or diminishes your life. Now recognize the power in your emotional autonomy. A man who has fully detached experiences love differently. He doesn't cling, he doesn't obsess, he doesn't compromise his essence for temporary connection. He loves freely, fully, and without desperation. And here's the subtle secret: when you stop being available to toxicity, the universe and people of integrity start aligning themselves with your energy. Respect, attraction, and genuine connection follow naturally. not because you chase them, but because you no longer settle for less than you deserve. But don't fool yourself. Detachment requires vigilance. Old patterns can creep back, and emotions can lure you into familiar traps. That's why you must continue nurturing your boundaries, monitoring your triggers, and reinforcing your independence. Detachment is not abandonment, it's mastery. Every choice you make must honor your value, your peace, and your future. Finally, embrace your transformation fully. Celebrate the liberation you fought for. Revel in the calm that replaces chaos, the clarity that replaces confusion, and the strength that replaces dependency. This is the moment when you realize something profound. You were never weak for loving. You were powerful for recognizing when love was destroying you. That awareness is your ultimate weapon. Remember this always. Detachment is not a loss. It is gain. Gain of self-respect, gain of freedom, gain of a life where you are the author of your story, not a footnote in someone else's. And once you reach this point, you'll never look back. You will live differently, love differently, and walk through the world with the quiet confidence of a man who knows exactly what he deserves and will no longer settle for anything less.